Hello friends, today we are going to be discussing the natural laws that occur when driving, and we are going to discuss specifically 6 main topics. Who's we? Well, me, Adithiya Venkatakrishnan, and this guy, Veda Kunamneni. Our journey starts with an unlikely hero, a hero you definitely have heard of. Doctor Strange had a heck of a character arc. He really changed who he was, from someone who's narcissistic to a hero willing to sacrifice himself to save millions. But he couldn't have reached that without, unfortunately, being the subject of our scenario today. So let's get started again. So our friend Doctor Strange had decided to go out one day, and he decided to go in his extremely fast car, driving around the roads like it's New Year's Eve. After that, he looks on his phone, irresponsibly may I add, to answer his friend's call and look at some pictures of some patients. Now, you can obviously see what goes wrong here, but we'll demo it anyway. So let's say our hero, Doctor Strange, was driving the best of the best, a Hot Wheels car. So the green car is our hero's car, and the red car on the opposite side, that is the opposing traffic. Now we can see the force of gravity on a fast moving object. Keep in mind that you should never drive distracted and always have your eyes on the road while in front of the driver's wheel. Moreover, we do not aim to dismiss any car accidents or any cause of it or make fun of anyone who's been involved in a car accident, including in movies or in real life. Now we can see the impact of gravity both in our Hot Wheels and in the actual crash scene. Gravity is a downward force. It keeps objects grounded. As our Hot Wheels car flies off the road, it falls on a downward curve. This downward curve causes the car to move faster downwards, giving the resulting collision with the ground extra impact. This results in the car bouncing back up and down until it has finally stopped. Our hero Doctor Strange mainly suffered injuries to his hands, but he was very lucky that he was able to be saved in quick time, as a car collision such as that may have been fatal. After this car accident, our hero goes out in the world searching for answers. Let's wish him the best of luck. Our guy for energy of motion is none other than the supreme Megamind, an icon to many around the world. So Megamind, after achieving basically his entire life purpose, which was to rule Metrocity, had no purpose. He had nothing to do, and in his boredom, he decided to test out the different speeds of different cars. Weird, but I get where he's coming from. Megamind's cars had 3 speeds. First speed, which is slow, second speed, which could be considered about medium, and third speed, which was extremely fast. Megamind decided to test collisions with other cars at all 3 speeds. He wanted to see how much of that energy would transfer to other cars near him. Now let's test. Here's speed 1. We can see the energy of motion of our first car, a green car, and how all the energy that was present during the collision transferred over to our second car. We also had some energy loss. We can see that the second car was significantly slower compared to the first car due to some energy loss while the energy was moving. However, kinetic energy is very much present in both of these cars. We can also see a similar principle in our second speed. In our third speed, due to the high velocity, our car actually flies out of the track. Even if the collision with the other car takes place, the other car will not travel as fast after the collision as it did in speed 1 because of the reduced contact of a faster car. As the green car sped off past the track, we can see that it didn't have much contact area with the actual other car. However, with the launcher pad that we're using, we can see how our elastic forces in our rubber band translated into kinetic energy in our car. As for Megamind, he finally picked himself up. He realized that crashing random people's cars was probably not the best thing to do as their town's ruler. So he decided to give himself a purpose by creating a hero. Whether that worked out in the long term is questionable. The force of impact in a collision is extremely important. It could mean the difference between a fender bender and your car being totaled. Our character today is a guy who doesn't know how to drive and yet likes to spend a lot of time in the DMV. None other than Sheldon Cooper.
Okay, now shift into drive. Pull out slowly into traffic. Jimmy. What's happening with the gas ends?
Wait! Hit the brakes! Hit the brakes!
So from that clip, it's apparent to see that Sheldon Cooper does not know how to drive and might be a danger on the roads. So he wants to learn how to drive so that he doesn't inconvenience his roommate every time he needs to go somewhere. His main goal is to first learn about collisions, since that's what he excels at right now. And he wants to learn about the significance of a force of impact on a car. Of course, he thinks he already knows this, but seeing his performance on the simulator, his roommate tells him to maybe try relearning something. On the simulator, which is nicely detailed with Hot Wheels, he witnesses impact at two different speeds, a slow speed and a fast speed. At the slow speed, he added relatively less than the median speed you would usually put, so he traveled at a slower speed than other people on the roadway. Doing then, this was a collision. He then went to higher speed, a speed he was used to going on the simulator at, and saw collisions at that point. Sheldon was able to relearn that at higher speeds he would have less control and would hit cars more aggressively, which would result in catastrophic failure and possible totals of other people's cars. He learned to drive at slower speeds, preferably under the speed limit, in order to prevent collisions, maintain control of the car, and to significantly reduce the force of impact. Sheldon was able to later get his license.
So we're back with Megamind. In a way, we're making the unofficial sequel.
There's obviously not a sequel, by the way. Did you know that?
Now Megamind, in his conquest for purpose, decides to use his prior experience to do something good. So he takes those cars he collided with, and decides, how could I not collide with those cars? He wanted to find at what point he would need to slow down to prevent a collision. Well, reality is, the speed of his vehicle determines how far he has to start stopping his vehicle with the brakes. If the vehicle is coming in at a higher speed, he has to start slowing down much further in advance, as it will take a longer time in order to stop the vehicle, resulting in a longer stopping distance. However, if he's coming in at a slower speed, his stopping distance is going to decrease because his car will take less time to actually stop. This is Fred, and Fred is a monster from Monsters University. He's driving currently and notices that the newly paved roads on Monsters University's campus are much easier to drive on than the old janky roads. Why? This is because of friction. Friction, or the force that resists an object's movement on a surface, is the reason why Fred is experiencing this change in thought. The old roads have a lot of bumps and crevices on them, resulting in more friction, putting more resistance on his car. The newer roads don't have those, which leads Fred to having a much more pleasant experience while driving. He's happy now. Fred also notices that his tires aren't driving as good as they used to. They're slower in his mind and not driving as smoothly. This is because of traction, which is the resistance between a tire and the surface. Fred starts driving down the newly paved ramp, but his car isn't going as good. This is because his tires are experiencing less traction with the ground, resulting in less grip, resulting in a worse riding experience. Fred, who now learned how to scare children in their sleep, goes back to his car tired. Ugh, he exclaims. He starts his car up and backs up, driving away. However, he notices that he's almost missing red lights. His car is almost hitting other cars when he starts braking, as if his driving is impaired in some way. This is somewhat true. Volition, or the power of determining, is a big part of the driving task. When drivers don't have as fast reaction times, they end up slowing closer to obstacles, almost resulting in accidents. However, when they do have faster reaction times, they stop farther away, decreasing stopping distance and preventing accidents from ever occurring.
Thank you for watching. Like and subscribe for more videos just like this one.